Is everybody ready?
I am ready.
Mr. K's ready, I think.
Riddick's ready. Stephen, are you ready? No,
Go
Steve.
on.
No, Stephen's napping.
Okay, right. Well, after many a interruption, sorry about that. Let's get started with the meeting. Mr. Co's been waiting plenty of time already. In fact, how are you? How are you, Chris?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm relaxed and ready to go. How are you?
Excellent. I'm good. I'm good. Slightly disturbed by our previously mentioned colleagues' behaviour, but let's move on and try and have a constructive meeting. Anyway, right. So now that we've all had our greetings, let's move on to reviewing the agenda. So we've covered greetings. We're on review agenda. Third item will be professional banter, as always. Fourth item is what are you doing? Fifth item, what am I doing? And then we will finish up with the sixth and final item, any other business. I think that's clear. Nothing unexpected today.
Sounds good.
So let's move on to item number 3, professional banter.
Lovely. I had one topic of discussion.
Did you see that ludicrous display last night?
Just going to move past that nice and quickly. It has been snowing like mad for days. Today is the first day that I've looked out a window and it has not snowed at all in a good 4 or 5 days, which has been lovely.
You have been pretty slap bang in the middle of the amber zone.
Yep. And it has been at points deeper than I've ever remembered it. Like walking through, and I bought some snow boots 6 years ago, and they've never seen snow. And I don't even remember. I can't remember why I bought them. I think it was for a costume, but they've never seen snow, and now like they're up to the top of the snow boots, and I'm so glad I've had them. And it's been fun.
It's lots of snow drifts. It is from what I've seen from my parents, who are also based in Suffolk.
Yes, very
zone.
Very. It's been very fine, very powdery, and it's been cold enough that it's been the perfect sort of stuff. As soon as you've had any sort of breeze, you've had it's moved around the air. And I know there's some places that I know in particular where you've got like big roads and big fields either side, and I imagine those roads are awful with snowdrifts. And actually our little levelled garden that we've got has sections that are really thick banks because it's just sort of swirled around in a certain way. So it's looked really cool. It's looked really nice. And then it's been bone dry where you are, I assume.
Well, no, we've had snow.
Oh, you have had some.
Gradually collecting. Yeah. But it's been, apart from today, where it didn't really reach thawing temps today, it would generally thaw and then refreeze. So it could get a bit miserable. And so we've been having snow since Friday, and I think in fact Friday, I think it. When did the weather hit? I've lost track of days. Anyway, the first day we had snow, it was actually just snowing all day. I've never had such consistent snow that never really came to anything. Yeah. It was really fine, really windy, and it was almost like at points it was almost just like tiny hail.
Yeah.
But yeah, snowed all day and barely came to anything, and then it slowly built up, and we've had some more snow overnight. But it's generally now that there's still snow lying around, but the paths and whatnot have generally just thawed and dried up because we get quite bright sunny days as well. So I think it's not really been melting as much as it's just evaporated off.
Yeah.
But it's been nice. It's nice. I like it when it gets cold enough to just be frozen, because Riddick is a lot cleaner after having gone out for walks or gone out in the garden for the loo, because it doesn't get muddy paw prints when the ground's frozen.
No, but I don't. I think Riddick probably doesn't get this. Stephen gets he gets snowballs and snow clumps attached to his fur.
Yeah, Bobby does. Riddick doesn't.
I think it's the sort of slightly curlier hair that does it. So he comes back and his legs look like little like white blackberries. They're just covered in, and some of them are like golf ball sized chunks after a good walk.
Yeah.
So and of course he comes in and walks in the corridor, shakes and just throws them everywhere. So the floor has been damp solidly for about 5 days now.
Lovely.
But
lovely. I don't have that problem with Riddick.
No.
Thankfully.
But enjoyable nonetheless. I've enjoyed having been able to go out in it and potter around.
Yes, it's nice to feel like you've actually had a winter as well.
Yeah.
My parents have been giving me regular updates as it was occurring, and for example, like the snow wasn't even that deep on the oak, because they've got a field and a paddock. Wasn't even that deep, and Bobby was pottering around, plodding around in it, and it wasn't even that deep. But then, that was nearer the weekend, last weekend, and then but I had a photo from my parents yesterday being like, "Where's the ditch?" Because it's just a lovely, smooth, like crest of snowdrift where there should be a massive ditch, and it's just snow. So yeah, very, very interesting. Yeah, change of pace. I think, unless you've got any other banter.
I don't know. There's something that I've spotted, but I'm going to save it for a little bit. So no more banter from me.
Okay. I'm now staring at the background of my visible on my camera, because I'm now paranoid. But okay, let's move on to item number 4. What are you doing, Chris?
What am I doing? What have I been doing? So 2 things. First, in the very first video that we did, I was dying to talk about what I had planned for my wife's birthday, and we've had that weekend now, so I can now talk about it. So with lockdown and everything, there's less that you can do, but I decided that I would create a series of tasks and challenges and clues and puzzles that would last an entire weekend. So I was torn. I was going to film some footage of it, but I didn't in the end, because I wanted to focus on making sure it went well. But I'll walk through the puzzles as we went through them. So we started off with a letter that said, "Go to this place to investigate this old legend." Went there, and I couldn't go there in advance to hide something, so I had to. It was very much a case of you walk to a location and go, "Oh, let's have a look around here." Okay,
Drop.
Oh, what's that? Found a book which had a little story in it, and on the inside cover of the book there was a key taped, which I was very nervous about, because I'm pretty sure I've lost the other keys. There were 3, so that was the only one. So there was a chance that it all went wrong on the first day, but it was okay.
Wow.
Got home, and then later in the evening got another letter which said to go to the pub, as in the pub that's in our garden, have a look around. Had a look around the pub, and there was a chest.
Bearded Hound.
The Bearded Hound. Had a look in there. There was a chest. The key opened the chest, and inside there was a map and another little book, which was like a book of magics and myths. So it was sort of like a clue book. If there was anything that you might be stuck on, then there would be something in there that would help you. That one had a map inside, and on the map was some writing, and it was a letter that said it was a bit of a riddle that said go and find a book, essentially. So then on the bookshelf there was a book that wasn't there before. Inside the book was another map. Followed that map the next day to we went to the UFO landing, space at Rendlesham Forest. I don't know if you're
Right.
Aware of it. I think it was in the 80s. Rumours of a UFO. So they've got like a little thing there. So we went there, and there was again out the back, chuck it on the floor, a bottle with a bottle lock on the top, the sort of thing you get in Tesco to stop you stealing and drinking the booze.
So you stole something from Tesco's to get your hands on a bottle lock that hadn't been unlocked and removed yet?
That's what it looked like. Yeah, that's certainly what it looked like. Inside that bottle there was something else, but of course the bottle was locked. So the little book said to go and talk to the landlord at the pub, because the landlord knows a prince, and it was a royal bottle of wine, and only princes have keys to royal wine, obviously. Went to the pub. The landlord was there, which was me in a different jacket, who said, oh, I've got an invitation to go see the prince. So then that evening, nice meal, go see the prince. The prince gives you the key. Key opens the bottle, and out of the bottle comes a mismatch, a weird pattern, which I wrote with one of these friction pens.
Okay.
So they are pens which you can rub out with a rubber.
Yep. Okay.
But you can also put them over like a candlelight or over a hob or something, and the ink will disappear. So you write a message in a normal pen, surround it with this pen, and then it will reveal a message if you heat it up. So that then had a message telling us to go to a specific location. Then we woke up the next morning and there were snowdrifts, and when you opened the back door you pushed a line of snow out into the courtyard, so driving anywhere was out of the question. So magically another map appeared telling us to go somewhere else instead, so we went there instead. On that walk we found a bath bomb, from which I managed to get from a great company. Put the bath bomb in the water later on, and inside the bath bomb was a code, which was a code, custom message, a code to a lock that was on the shed. So I opened the shed. Inside the shed was this bamboo tube. Inside the bamboo tube were 2 replica Lord of the Rings rings. So then we checked the DVD box for Lord of the Rings, and there was a note that said to go into the loft. Went up into the loft, and in the loft was a cryptex. So the cryptex then came with another note saying to go to a specific location. So then the next morning, and we're still snowed in, so we're told to go to a slightly different location and walk around and collect. Now they're round here somewhere. I know where they are. Okay, so walk around, connect these wooden circles with different letters on, which are dotted around in various locations. Again, just chuck them out. And they then had to be put into a specific order, which then opened the cryptex, and then inside the cryptex was Emily's present. Also inside the cryptex was a password that she had to tell to the landlord at the Bearded Hound in the garden, which once she told him that password, he loaded up a video on the TV, which was a lovely 10-minute long birthday message of lots of people wishing Emily a happy birthday. Then we're nearly at the end. At the end of the video, there's a screen with everybody's names who had wished happy birthday, and it also had the names of Kermit the Frog and Lotso Bear from Toy Story. So we've got a stuffed Kermit the Frog and Lotso Bear, which is sat on top of a cupboard in the spare room. And behind that was another box that had like a glittery headband in it, sort of like a crown to be like, congratulations, you've succeeded. Here's the final thing. Yeah. So that was, breathe. That was it over the case of over 4 days. All the different puzzles and things which I'd been planning for a while and putting together, and yeah. It was so much fun to put together, and then it's other than the snow breaks, it all ticked over and worked quite nicely, and some bits are just really satisfying, like writing messages with this pen and having them disappear. It's just like I could waste so much paper just writing things on and heating it up, and then be like, right, well, that's done. So yeah, that was my weekend that I've been planning for a month, and has finally all happened.
Crikey, that's a lot.
I've done things like it before, but they've normally been shorter, or 2 or 3. But this was lots of different puzzles over a whole weekend, which was a lot of fun.
What I was thinking was like, this could have been a really elaborate proposal, but you're already married.
Yeah.
Just going above and beyond. The also makes me wonder, like, are you missing being a DM? It is.
Well, I because I'm not DMing.
You've got to play a few personalities, it sounds like. Over the weekend.
Yeah, I was the prince, I was myself, and I was the barman. But it did. I think what it made me want was it made me look forward to being able to DM a game where I could maybe produce some notes, or maybe even like
some props involved.
Or maybe even prepare a game that like just like a one-shot D&D adventure, but I send the people who are playing it little packages that they're told to open at certain points that maybe have some of these things in. That could be quite fun, and something a bit more.
I think it's worth noting for the other attendees that during the restrictions and having to play D&D online, at the culmination of Chris's campaign that he started, it was a 8-month campaign in the end.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah.
And before the end of it, you were just rather conspicuously asking everyone for their addresses, to which we all opened up. You'd sent everyone medals for being champions of the campaign.
There they are.
Yes, there we go.
Kept one for myself. I thought it was
really bad. Is that I have mine, but it may have slipped to the back of the drawer. Unfortunately, I should have given you more warning, but we are already running over.
Oh, no, I know we are. That's fine. The only other thing I had was I made the most of the snow to film some footage for another video with Stephen. I need to put that together. That's on my list, but probably not for a few weeks. So, but other than that, those were my points. So I'm happy to concede the floor.
That's very kind of you, sir. Very gracious. I didn't have to even play you out with any music to get you off the stage either.
Send the hook in.
Okay. yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll move on to item number 5. What am I doing? And I'll try and keep it short and sweet. I've tried to be more prepared, and I have off screen a selection of props, so that and my notes. So I'm not disappearing off behind the camera or anything to confusing. But first thing is I've been continuing to work on my Nerf demolition missile launcher. It's pretty pitiful progress, if I'm honest. It's not even worth going to get anything to show you, because I don't even have anything to show you, other than you might be able to see the slow movement of my 3D printer.
Yeah.
That is after switching back to ABS to avoid wasting my ASA, going through the rather frustrating learning curve of finding out the only real robust solution I found to my bed adhesion issues if I just have to use an ABS slurry with it dissolved in acetone and paint that on, and then that seems to work. But
so that's the thing I could notice earlier was I could just see in the bottom of the window of your printer, I could just see it moving around a bit, and I was like, oh, actually it's quite cool that I can see it.
Yeah, and I've just realised the reel has just moved around to the correct position, so that the torch I have in there at the moment to help me see is full on lit up is lighting up the white label, and you'll see it will slowly move out around again, so there's no big white thing. So that's been making the odd noise, and I've been resisting the temptation to check it. But that's all there is. It's printing a jig at the moment that I will be using to cut out and is like a template to cut out and shape the pieces of plastic tube that I have for the constituent part of the frame. Okay. So I have a single piece of tube that will run the full length of the blaster that I'll then glue more complex shapes to. And I figured, I'll print a jig, and it's kind of, I don't know, it feels like a bit weird to be like, okay, well, I'm going to make this out of something that isn't 3D printed to make it. It'll be more robust for it, but at the same time, it's like, oh, maybe it'll be quicker, but then I'm like, I'm printing a jig. If I had a CNC router or something, or mill, I would just whack it on there and do it, and that'd be it. I was also meant to be working on finishing off just some tidying up stuff for the upgrades I talked about last time. Mm-hmm. And I was using PLA filament, which is a lot easier to print for that, which I was running low on, so I'd ordered some filament, and I saw some fluorescent yellow filaments that caught my eye, and I was like, well, I don't care. I either don't care what the colour is, or I'll probably paint it, or it'd be interesting to try it. So I was like, let's try out the fluorescent stuff. It's the same kind of price. And it immediately ignited an idea I've had in the corner of my mind for a while. And Chris, I've sent you one picture of this so far, but I've been sending a lot more stuff to some of my other friends, but I've been trying to keep it. I've not kept it secret before in this forum because I couldn't contain myself. But you're very familiar with these little cheap LED torches.
Yes, I am.
And one of the things of these is they have a really simple way of holding the lens, which is just a cap that screws off. Mm-hmm. And the lens pops out, and then you just have the metal piece. So I had an idea, and with this fluorescent filament, and I'll put some pictures up, because, or maybe this will work. This is the first test print. It's not so effective here, but in daylight, it is very fluorescent.
Right.
This isn't really doing it justice. And I also have one of these in UV. So immediately I spent basically my Saturday doing this, and it was wasted in that it wasn't the projects I planned to work on, but it was very fun, and I basically ended up making these. Now this one is UV and this one is a normal LED torch. In fact, I can get the brightness right. There we go.
I kind of want you
and
to
I
want you to go turn your light off a little bit.
By turn that off. So this is entirely from these, right? So they're pretty bright.
That's really cool.
And then I got carried away and went to print one of the maximum height with a bigger torch I have, where the lens fits in the same way.
Look at that.
And that's the size of the handle for that, but that's the maximum height I can do. So I call these the mini sabers. And I call this the MIDI saber because it's a very stumpy. It's still like a lightsaber dagger. But again, cool. You get a really clear column in person. And in fact, there we go. Yeah, it's got the same multiple settings. So there we go.
So you could legitimately print two bits of that length that screw into each other, couldn't you? Or that clip into each other.
I could, but the downside of that is you would have a visible interface. So again, this is a single spiral, and I fitted a bigger 0.8mm nozzle so I could get a thicker wall as well. I'll show you what they look like. But that means you basically have you have no visible seam.
Yeah.
And as soon as you did glued two together,
you would get
instead of having the fused plastic, even just having no actual lip. So that's what the printed part is, with a flange on the bottom. And it prints vertically. You would have a visible edge, but it might be worth trying to see what it looks like.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool.
And it was a day well worth wasting on other project progress. I think I'm done.
Okay.
So I think it's time to move on to item number 6, the final item. Any other business?
So I've got a couple, and I think they'll be quite short ones if we want to fly through them. So point number 1 was the logo. We talked about redoing the logo, but I appreciate other things have taken priority.
Yes.
So there's no rush on it. The only thing that I thought of was the old logo had a square frame around it, and most things that I think we would be putting the logo on initially have a circular window to them. So I wasn't sure whether we'd thought about having that as a circular window rather than a square one.
Yeah, for sure. I'll good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, totally. Because I think on the YouTube channel, it's clipped it off.
Yeah. So you've got 4 little lines dotted around, haven't you? Because it cuts the corners off. The other thing was last week we discussed Taylor Talk.
Yes. I didn't have anything to add into the banter this week.
I had a thought about how to approach Taylor Talk, which I think Taylor Talk counts as a project, so I think it's okay to discuss a bit about it in this. So my thought was, what might be better and what might work better is if we did it in the format of series, where maybe each album is a series, and we could probably put some time aside. It'd be a big chunk of time. It'd be like half a day, but pick a day and put half a day aside, and we could do an entire series in one sitting, and then we've got them there.
Yeah, and then just cut it up into.
Yeah. I wonder whether that would be the best way to approach it.
Yeah, that probably is. Yeah, be a good idea. Because then also you're listening to the album as a whole, so as you're talking about it, you've got it in context.
Yeah,
I think is a good idea. Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good. Those are my points of any other business.
My final any other business is I really like the ideas, but I'm going to say maybe we should focus on actually getting the current videos out before we start adding more and more, because that's what we discussed. We have a document of the video ideas. In fact, Taylor Talk isn't on there, and we should add it on. And how we would schedule publishing our videos, and we kind of I think the agreement was, we would get the fundamental weekly videos down and into a relative routine that we can manage with that before we start adding more in. And we might need to substitute something else out, or something else might end up being Taylor Talk. Because I think that was our general. We had some thoughts about how we would structure it, but I think, I don't know, for me, I was, other than maybe being more structured with my time and dedicating a slot to it, and the motivation to do it, I think even just having edited a couple of videos, I'm much more familiar with it. I think could knock them out. I got so close to just doing a one evening edit, done, which would make things a lot more sustainable. So
go on.
I was going to say, I don't think the other board members are necessarily as interested as me in our file and backup systems.
You got to have a good framework. Got to have a good framework behind. And
you are our digital director, so
So there we are.
I should defer to you.
Well, do we have anything else then?
No, I think I'm afraid I'm going to have to call time on the meeting at that point. I think
Okay.
I've not got anything else, and unless you had anything super important.
Nope, nothing else for me.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for attending another Cox Coe board meeting, and we'll close it there. Well,
fading out. Talking about the issues, but
Coe.
we're keeping it funky. Fading out.
One final item before you do.
Sorry,
hang up.
yeah.
I've still not received your paper copy of the like and subscribe requests.
I know what I did. I got it all ready, but I needed to take it to the post office because it had there was something else in the package. It was a large letter, so I had to take it to the post office. But I haven't been able to get out because of the snow. I am sorry. It's an excuse. I appreciate. It's a bad excuse, but paper and
Can I just reiterate that we are a paperless company?
I know.
And we have an electronic signing system.
I know, but I feel like I've put
And
enough effort into the paper version now that I need to get it over to you.